Healthy Yards, brought to you by Premier Farm and Home. Visit us online at haycow.com.
Chad, it's hot.
It's hot.
It is hot.
Yeah.
You can tell by the grass. I mean, people are struggling keeping their grass green. What are some of the things you suggest people do as we're in the dog days of summer?
Well, when you get into summertime, a lot of things happen in the plant. We go from conditions where there's lots of moisture, lots of perfect growing conditions, into this thing where rain gets spotty and sometimes we get a lot of rain all at once, not these nice gentle rains like we do in the summer or in the spring. And that begins to just kind of wear on your lawn. You'll see a lot of changes that go on in your lawn. Probably the main things that you'll see, we have temperature stress, drought, heat, and insects and disease kind of really tend to play a key role in that.
Well, I know the one thing that you and I talked about the last time I was out here is inching my mower deck a little higher, a little higher. I'm up on the top level. Is that where everybody should be?
That's where you should be. You know, sometimes you can get away with a lower mowing height in the spring. If you're on a tall fescue lawn, you should be about 3.5 to 4 inches in mowing height. What that does is that allows the plant to make more food with the leaves that it has. It allows it to build better root reserves to cope with some of the summer stress that you run into. It allows for better regrowth after it's been hammered by brown patch or disease or some of this temperature problems. And it also, the more leaf area you got, the more water moves through the plant, the cooler you can keep the plant.
And we also talked last time just about waterfall and monitoring what you lose and replacing that. Will you go through that again with me?
Yeah, sure. When you go out to your lawn, a lot of times people don't know when to water or how much to water. They just know they look out and their yard doesn't look well, and they get home in the evenings and they kick it on for an indeterminate amount of time and just try it out. They may do that often or not. It's best to water deep and infrequently. Putting down about 1 inch of vertical water a week will give you good quality. If you get down to about 1/4 inch every 2 weeks, we'll keep tall fescue alive. So you can't allow it to just go into dormancy. Let it be brown out there. It's okay. It's not dead. It's dormant. If you want to maintain quality where things still look good, we need to see about 1 inch per week, whether that comes from rainfall, whether that comes from what we introduce, and that rainfall or that water that you're irrigating with should always come in the morning, sometime before 10 if possible. Keeps the disease problems minimized. You know, sometimes the worst thing you can do is go out there and water light and frequently in the evenings and just keep that plant surface wet. Disease sparks right away and you have a much worse condition than if you would have just left it alone. Yeah.
We talked early in the spring about some of the new traits and some of the new grass seeds. Keep things greener, take less water.
Right.
Is this the time of the year you're going to see some of those traits really kick in?
Yeah, that's correct. As you go into summer, you'll notice that the pasture types like K31, which a lot of folks still use in their lawn, those will tend to be a lime green, get a really, you know, an apple green almost color like a green apple. They do not stay dark green. The turf types really begin to separate at this time. They'll start to look more of a deep, darker green and hold the color with less fertilizer. You also notice a difference in growth. You won't hardly mow your turf types this time of year. They stay pretty happy with where they're at. They don't grow too fast. K31 will still continue to grow. Yeah.
Bugs this time of the year. What are some of the bugs we're going to see and how should we take care of those?
The major insect problem that you're going to run into is going to be white grub larvae. Which are June bugs. Most people know, or there's several things we clump in the class and call them June bugs. Those white grubs can be taken care of in June with some insecticides that kill them as they reproduce in June. So when you start seeing all those June bugs everywhere, it's their kids that you're worried about, and you can put down some preventative insecticides out there to take care of them right away. And that symptom will always, it's easy to tell if you have grubs. You just walk right up to the brown spot in your lawn. If you pull that turf and it just rolls right out, it doesn't hold firmly to the ground, it's usually insects. If you go to that turf and it still holds firmly but still looks straw-like and dead, it was likely disease or heat or some other contributing factor. Yeah.
One dreaded word this time of the year, crabgrass.
Yes.
We get crabgrass this time of the year. We also talked early spring about, you know, really trying to kill it once we get into this time of the year.
Right.
How are we going to kill crabgrass?
Okay. remember how you feel right now when you look out there and you see that crabgrass perking up in the yard, and remember pre-emergent, pre-emergent, pre-emergent. If you can remember that next spring in your March, April time frame, that's when you take care of crabgrass the cheapest and most effective way. Now, if you're like some folks and you've just completely forgot about it and walk out there and have a problem with it, there are some products that you can use post-emergent that will kill just your crabgrass, not your rest of your yard, and will work pretty well for you. The cost is much less to prevent than it is to cure, obviously.
What are some of the things you suggest we do for the next 2 months coming into fall before we overseed?
When you get ready to overseed, the main thing you want to do is figure out how big of an area that you want to overseed. If you know that, you get accurate numbers when we come to how much seed you'll need, how much fertilizer, am I going to be able to water it or not. Figure out how big of an area you want to overseed. And then as you come into it, if you have issues like Bermuda in the lawn or some other, let's say you're tired of your K31 or those sorts of things, you can consider a renovation product or process where you'd actually kill the lawn off with Roundup in August and seed directly into that residue and just use it as a soil stabilizer, and you can seed right into that. If you have nothing there, you know, that end of August would be a time that you would make sure you're to grade, get ready to seed, and then you would cover it with some kind of straw or mulch. But mainly you just want to get things set up, keep mowing the weeds, keep that thing down, understand that you're going to have some gaps and some stress, and then when we get that timing right at the end of August going into September, make sure that you're all set to go.
Perfect. Yeah. There you have it. You need any yard work done or you have any questions, come out to Premier Farm and Home.